With meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 61 degrees at 12:03. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
This is the Gashouse Gang on 104.1 FM KMOX. Sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. Now the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
And because it's Thursday, got my guy Bernie Miklasz with me, Chris Ranji, on the Gashouse Gang until 1 o'clock today. And we want you to check in with us. You got the phone number to call and text, 314-436-7900. You can watch on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. If you find the @KMOX Sports Twitter page, we are there. And we're here with you for the next hour. We're going to talk to Tyler Kepner, who covers baseball for The Athletic. We are also going to talk, that's coming up at 12:15. At 12:30, we are going to talk to former Cardinals pitcher Jim Kaat. That is all coming up. And Bernie, we are well into it. We're well into the Cardinals offseason. Derek Gould today just writing about Brendan Donovan and that there is some interest in him. And you just wonder how quickly things are going to change. We know they're going to be different going into 2026, but when might we actually start to see some real moves happening as the GM meetings were going on this week?
I think, generally speaking, you can start to look forward to some trades after Thanksgiving. And I think teams like to get things done before Christmas, but that doesn't mean they will. The schedule has sort of been shifting to later and later period of the offseason. But I think there's going to be a lot of interest. There is a lot of interest in Brendan Donovan. Derek Gould's piece talked about Kansas City and Cleveland being teams that have expressed a lot of interest, but there's going to be more teams than that. So Chaim Bloom, if Chaim Bloom gets something that he feels really good about, I'm sure he'll press the trigger on it, but I don't know when that'll be.
Yeah, and I don't know just how I'm still fluctuating, at least in my mind, of how different I think the roster is going to look next year. I think the rotation is going to be at least 40% different, probably. I mean, you're gonna have to fill at least 2 rotation spots with guys different than what you've seen in the past. I think it's potentially 3. I think Michael McGreevy is in. Very likely the Matthew Liberatore is in, and then maybe Kyle Leahy. I'm not exactly sure. But you're going to look at a very different rotation for next year. And of course, you've got guys on the roster. We might be looking at 3 of them who are gone for 2026.
I think, listen, I would be shocked if Chaim Bloom didn't land certainly one starter, as long as it's a good starter that's got talent and it's controllable contract and all that stuff. But I would even expect him to try to add a depth piece like a back of the rotation guy too. I think he'll aim high on one of the starting pitchers that he's pursued. He'll aim higher, and then the other one will be just kind of like, okay, we need some depth and some back end help. And they do have some young guys that are getting closer to the majors. I don't know what the timetable will be there, but I think they certainly need a couple of arms for their rotation going into spring training. And I actually think Kyle Leahy is an excellent candidate. That doesn't mean that he's guaranteed a spot, but I think he's got the stuff that it takes to be in a major league rotation. He really does.
Bernie, this is, again, it's not going to be the same kind of season as 2025. Not exactly the same, but they're going to be a lot of similarities where I think part of the year or a part of the roster will be used on guys you're just trying to figure out what you have or what they're capable of doing. And he would be one of those. That's somebody that maybe you just want to see. Can he definitely start at the major league level and do that regularly? And maybe it benefits them long term to find out and use 2026 for that.
Yeah, exactly. They need, in fact, I would be flabbergasted if they don't give Kyle Leahy a great opportunity to be in that rotation. Let me just give you a couple quick things, and I promise I'll be quick. Last season, in terms of a metric called, pitching run value, Kyle Leahy was like a plus 13, which is pretty high for a reliever, really high for a reliever. And the other thing, that's number one. The other thing is that last season when he had 20 relief appearances where he pitched at least 2 innings, sometimes 3. That's not a 5-inning start, but you're close. You're getting closer to it. You know what his ERA was last year this last season when he went 2+ innings in a relief outing? 1.01.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is that he throws 5 pitches, and StatCast rates all 5 pitches above average. And see, starters, that's what you want. You want a guy with a pitch arsenal, a lot of ways to get guys out. So he's got the prerequisite qualifications, I think is the best way to put it. So I don't see why they wouldn't want to give that opportunity to one of their own internally developed guys who obviously is a really good pitcher.
And if you're looking, you're talking about starting pitching repertoire for a guy. You're looking for 3 good pitches. I mean, if you've got 5 that you can use and feel confident in them, that's really good. Most guys don't have 5 quality pitches in their arsenal.
Yeah, and that's why, and I did so much research on Leahy. If people are interested in this, I wrote about it a couple days ago. If you go to stlsportscentral.com, you'll see all the stuff that I put together about Kyle Leahy and why I think he warrants a chance to be a starting pitcher in the rotation and why I think it'll work. Because I wouldn't be saying that unless I had some stuff to kind of back it up.
Right. Yeah. Bernie Miklasz with us, with you until 1 o'clock. We will talk to Jim Cott, former Cards pitcher. That will be at 12:30. But when we come back, we're going to talk to Tyler Kepner, who covers Major League Baseball for The Athletic. We'll get his thoughts on this offseason that is happening right now, maybe some of the awards that have been issued. We got the National League Rookies of the Year yesterday. Rather, it was the Cy Youngs yesterday. So we'll talk about that as well. All that coming up on the Gashouse Gang on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original, present 100 years of KMOX.
Big Red Highlights are brought to you by KMOX Radio, the sports voice of St. Louis.
There, when every game mattered.
Here's Lomax back taking the snap. 4-man rush. He throws one down the middle. Green. Touchdown.
Cardinal football on the move. Takes the snap. Rolling right, going in goal. Touchdown. Hi, I'm Roy Green. KMOX Radio brings you exclusive Cardinal football action. Tune in each Sunday as Bill Wilkerson and Zip Rosepa bring you all the play-by-play. Only on the sports voice of America, KMOX Radio.
There for every headline, every heartbreak, every heartbeat. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. Brought to you by St. Louis Public Library, St. Louis's original search engine.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
This fall, get a taste of what's to come at Dragonstone, an exclusive new Lombardo Homes community in Darden Prairie, west of Highway K and south of 364. Join us Saturday, November 15th at our Inverness display in O'Fallon for a
pretty damning. And baseball took the, it took the opportunity the other day to say that they and the gambling companies were banning, they weren't banning prop bets, but they were, capping it at like $200 or something like that. And so I guess that helps. I mean, it would have been better if you just banned prop bets, so you wouldn't be able to bet on a single pitch or something that's so easy to manipulate. But certainly nobody will be making hundreds of thousands of dollars off that anymore. And I guess that'll help.
With full disclosure, I have a partnership with FanDuel, and sports betting and prop betting is something that I actually enjoy doing, and I know a lot of sports fans do it. And there is also a lot of money in it for not just the companies, the betting companies, but for the teams themselves because of the partnerships they have with those companies. So I can't really ever see it completely going away. Can you?
No, and the Athletic has a partnership too with one of them. I once it became legal again, and that expired, and I remember talking to Faye Vincent before he died last year, and he was talking about what a shame it was that sports gambling had become legal again, and how it was really just a result of a loophole in the original wording of the law. But now it's here, and it's been here for a few years, and I don't think it's going anywhere when it brings so much money to the companies and to teams and leagues. It would take something, some sort of federal legislation again to outlaw it, and I don't know if that's coming. So, yeah, it's probably here to stay, at least for the foreseeable future, and we've got to get a handle on it. We've already seen, some issues in basketball and baseball, and I'm sure they'll continue to some degree. I mean, these guys are human, and whether or not they make a lot of money, there's if you are inclined to scheme and want a little more action and maybe have friends who want you to do stuff for them, and it's still going to be a temptation.
Tyler, I wanted to ask you about, just to get your view of the Cardinals and the state that they're in. With Chaim Bloom taking over, it's going to be a rebuild, not a drastic rebuild, maybe more moderate than anything, but big changes. Number one, are you surprised that the Cardinals sort of allowed themselves to get into the position where they have to do this after so much winning? And number two, what is your opinion of Chaim Bloom? Everything you know about him, do you think he's a good fit for this particular challenge?
Yeah, I like Chaim a lot personally. He's a really he's a man of real integrity, a really good person and steward of a franchise. He's very smart. I think his track record of building a farm system and a setup that will make smart decisions in drafting and development is pretty extensive. So, with time, I think you'll see some results of that. I think the Red Sox now are seeing some benefit of the guys who came into the organization while he was there. And certainly the Rays have that feel as well. But he has to show that he can do it in a market like St. Louis, where it's sort of somewhere between Tampa and Boston, or maybe more like the Boston that he was with when they weren't really spending huge dollars, like Boston is used to doing. It's a tricky setup there in St. Louis, right? Because they're a middle market team, I guess, but they have such a great tradition, and they're such a Tiffany brand in MLB, and they're used to contending, in this era. They're used to pennants and being the top dog, and now they're not. And they need to somehow find not just the kinds of prospects who become big leaguers and sort of good complementary around the margins guys, but they need to find dudes. They don't have those high impact superstars that fueled a lot of those winning teams. I mean, they don't have the Pujols, Roland, Edmonds kind of guys, Walker, that they had a little while ago. And they've got to find those high impact guys, and that until they do, they're kind of going to be in this middle ground.
That's in terms of winning a championship for sure. What about just competing? And I mean, really competing within the division with teams like the Brewers, who are able to do it year in, year out, even when you think they're not going to, or the Reds, who are getting better. And then you've got the Cubs, who've got stars on their team and they have resources, but they seem reluctant to really push it. They had an opportunity, I thought, to really go hard during last offseason. They punted on that. So knowing what the landscape's like, and then the Pirates are the Pirates, but knowing what it's like, I mean, what is the real likelihood the Cardinals could actually compete fairly soon just within the division?
Well, that's the thing, right? It always seems like the Central is winnable and attainable. And yet the Brewers, if they weren't like the Milwaukee Brewers and didn't have like a low payroll and everything, people might see them as an imposing force because of what they've done and what they do almost every year. So they've got a formula there, and they've got a system that works and that they believe in. And it's hard to replicate that. It takes a lot of discipline and a lot of years of buy-in from people. So, I don't know. I think the question for the Cardinals is, are they just going to try to change some things around and win 89 games or whatever it's going to take and then win the division? Or are they going to try to, take some maybe short-term pain for a long-term sustainable benefit? I think that's what they're thinking with Chaim Bloom and with the fact they didn't do anything at all last year in the offseason. So they're laying the foundation for something. It seems like those days of just kind of trying to get enough to win the Central and maybe get lucky in the postseason are gone. And ultimately, that'll probably be a good thing. But in the meantime, it's going to be a little boring. And I think the fans have shown that they're not really that excited or enthused about it, which we're not used to seeing in St. Louis. We're used to seeing continued support.
It's the rebuilding thing is a pretty foreign experience, right? So I think everyone's trying to adjust to it. Anyway, Tyler Kepner with us from The Athletic. Man, I hate to bring up this topic because it's such a downer, but I did miss. You've been around this game a long time. You have a good read on the powers that be. Do you have any optimism that a work stoppage, a loss of games, can be avoided in terms of the looming labor dispute between the owners and the players?
I do. I mean, I try to be optimistic until there's real reason not to be. I can't see a scenario like I always think of St. Louis when I think of like labor peace, because one of those World Series years they just announced that they're having a new CBA like in October. It was like no big deal. It was the sort of the most peaceful time I can remember. And now it's back to the way it was in the 70s and 80s and 90s, where everything goes to the last minute and there's brinksmanship and there's, at least now if we're talking a lockout, we're talking an off-season lockout, which they were able to get through, as tedious as it was a few years ago. They did get through that without losing any games. I think there's powerful incentive not to lose games. And the incentive is that the TV model has broken down and they need content to sell their product. I mean, it sounds basic, but like, how are you going to make money in a new TV paradigm if you can't even promise that you're going to have a season or that you're going to have games to show? So I think they need to keep the product going in order to sell it. And I also think Manfred is very proud of the fact that he's never lost any games on his watch. And I don't think he wants to have that be sort of the final mark on his legacy. So, and also one other point to consider is that the thing that ended the lockout the last time is that the rank and file players accepted the deal. The really rich guys, the veteran guys, the guys who were on the executive committee, they wanted to continue it. They wanted to keep pushing for things, and they didn't want to accept, but the rank and file accepted. So if you can appeal to the rank and file and make this about the well-being of the players as a whole, and not just the ability for Juan Soto to make $700 million, then $765 million, then you got a good chance. So I'm not pessimistic just yet. There's a lot of hard issues and a lot of tough talk, but ever since, except going back to that St. Louis agreement, there's always hard issues and tough talk, and they haven't missed it in 31 years.
Well,
so I'm going to hang to that.
Yeah, and one of the reasons they give for wanting that salary cap is teams like the Yankees, you can't really compete with them, and they're just going to get the good players. The Dodgers, same thing. And there was the report that Paul Skeens is telling teammates he wants to play for New York. He denies that. So what can they do about it? And is a cap the solution for it?
No, I don't think so. I think you need to distribute more money to among the teams, and I think you need to earmark that money for players to get them to trust that it won't just be put back in the owners' pockets. So there needs to be some kind of structure there, but I don't think there needs to be a formal salary cap. I think if you look and study it, there's more different champions in baseball than there are in other sports. Every year there's a World Series team that hasn't been there in at least 10 years. I mean, literally every year except for 2018. You go back to ever since the Cardinals and Giants were making it all the time, the last 9 or 10 years, there's always some team that hasn't been there in a while. You mentioned the Yankees, and in the New York area, sure, the Yankees always are good, and they can steal your best player. But what have they done in October? They've made one World Series in the last 16 years, and they fell flat against the Dodgers. So it doesn't assure you of anything. The Yankees have as many pennants and as many World Series wins in the last 16 years as the Arizona Diamondbacks. So, I don't think it's an excuse. I think if the Pirates want to get better, they should sell the team to an owner who wants to play at the high rollers table. Not enough owners, some owners just don't want to do that. They don't want to ante up for what it takes to be in the game. And there's plenty of billionaires out there, I think, who would sell the team. Sell the team if you don't want to spend. You'll make a lot of money, and someone else, and you won't be a villain in town. I don't know why they don't sell.
And could not agree with you more. And every single one of these owners in every single major sport would make money on their investment right now if they sold. Every single one of them. So
right.
Yeah.
So why would you want to be? Why would you want to be a pariah? I mean, not everybody can be the Dodgers. There has to be somebody who's a top dog. But look at like the Royals again. Like, they're not a powerhouse, but they try. And they spend what they go out and they get guys and they try to be competitive. And they've had a couple good years here lately. They won the World Series 10 years ago. They keep their stars, or they keep some of their stars. Alex Gordon, Sal Perez. I mean, they try, and it just seems like some teams don't try. And I think that's a model that can work.
Senior MLB writer for The Athletic, Tyler Kepner, we appreciate you. Thanks for jumping on today.
All right, fellas. Enjoy your conversation with Jim Cott. He's the best. We love Jim Cott.
He's awesome. And that is coming up next. That's Tyler Kepner, the Gashouse Gang. And Bernie's appearance is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin dealer. It is the Gashouse Gang. Jim Cott, the Hall of Famer, is next on KMOX.
Hey guys, Dave Glover here from the Dave Glover Show. So, what is my show? My show is 4 different people living 4 different lives, all coming together every day between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. to talk about life, actual life, not so much headlines or did you see what Trump did today or XYZ. Never predictable because I never know what I'm going to talk about from one segment to the next. So it truly is unique and unpredictable. Join us.
104.1 FM, KMOX. Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
Sunny and 62 degrees in St. Louis. The high today will be 67. We'll have a low tonight of 49. And the weather is brought to you by the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company, pennmutual.com/STL. Times are always changing, but Penn Mutual stands the test of time. The 178-year young mutual company is leading the way in life insurance. Ask your independent advisor or go to pennmutual.com/STL.
You could think you found your dream home online. The kitchen island looks perfect for your inner chef. The backyard, a paradise for your green thumb. And that extra room, hello walk-in closet. But here's the twist. The lot next door just got rezoned for years of construction. And this sound, yeah, you're going to be hearing a lot of that. Don't let your dream home turn into a nightmare. Work with the expertise and ethical training of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Is your car still under warranty?
No, not anymore.
My mechanic just suggested an extended service plan from Ox Car Care.
Ox Car Care?
Yeah, Ox will cover repair bills if anything happens to the car. New brakes, transmission, AC, or engine problems. Plus, Ox Car Care offers free oil changes, tire rotation, and roadside assistance.
Wait, you pay nothing on repairs. Ox gets it fixed, free oil changes, free tire rotation, and free roadside assistance?
Yeah, you don't pay. Ox pays. Ox even has a 30-day money-back guarantee and is A+ rated on the BBB. They handle their claims from start to finish, unlike those other warranty companies.
The last thing I need is an unexpected car repair bill. I'm calling Ox Car Care now.
Call Ox Car Care for your free quote, 800-221-6319. Ask about senior and military discounts. Don't get stuck with a major car repair bill. Call Ox Car Care, 800-221-6319. 800-221-6319 or go to oxcarcare.com.
For 100 years, KMOX has been part of St. Louis. Now, Together Credit Union is helping celebrate that legacy. Starting in November, visit any Together Credit Union branch to pick up a KMOX 100th anniversary commemorative ornament for just $5 while supplies last. Each ornament supports Children's Miracle Network of Greater St. Louis. Together Credit Union, honoring 100 years of KMOX, the voice of St. Louis, and Children's Miracle Network of Greater St. Louis, improving the health of all children.
They're playing Saturday night, it's men's Billikens basketball as they face Grand Canyon. Pre-game 6:45, tip at 7 on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Gashouse Gang brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Bernie Miklasz and Chris Ranji. And our next guest was inducted into baseball's Hall of Fame in 2022. The left-hander started his career, major league career, back in 1959. Finished it here in St. Louis with the Cardinals in the early 80s. The Hall of Famer Jim Cott is on the show with us this afternoon. Good to talk to you, Jim. How you doing?
Thank you. Good talking with you guys. Always good to talk baseball in St. Louis.
Well, Jim, Bernie Miklasz, really great to talk to you again. It's been too long. Sir, I can't believe you're 87, not because I think that that's an abnormally old age. It's because you're so incredibly youthful and vibrant and just on top of your game, so to speak. Do you have a secret? Are you going to write a book about how to be an 87-year-old guy going on, say, maybe 47?
I'll give you one better than that. I had a humbling honor a few nights ago to go into the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame, and Bob Costas was one of my presenters, but the other one was my playing manager in 1958, Jack McKeon, and Jack is about to be 95. And he was sharp as Johnny Carson in his prime. I mean, he is unbelievable. Wow. So that was so cool having the pitcher and catcher from 67 years ago talking about stories in the old Pioneer League. But yeah, I feel very blessed to have the health I have, and I think playing into my 40s and playing in St. Louis with guys like Dave LaPointe and Willie McGee that were almost young enough to be my sons, I think that helped keep me young.
Yeah, and you played for some pretty good teams. You know, you had a championship here in St. Louis. What was for you a long career, as we talked about, starting in the late 50s and ending in the early 80s? What was maybe the highlight for you? Was it being inducted into the Hall of Fame, or was it something else?
No, that's a very humbling honor, but there's no question that the most rewarding and exciting year I had in baseball was being with the 82 Cardinals. I mean, that was ended up being a record, not a record of achievement. Just coincidentally, I waited longer than any player in professional team sports to finally get a championship ring, and that was 24 years. I played golf this past summer with Ray Bork. He waited 22 years for the Stanley Cup. So to finish my career really with that full season with those guys, and we still stay each other in touch with through text. So that was so much fun. 67 home runs we hit as a team, stole 200 bases. We all said, bring on the 2025 Dodgers. I think we'd love to be able to play those guys.
Jim, before Whitey Herzog and the Cardinals signed you, what did they say? Like, what were the qualities they thought you would bring to that bullpen? And also, please talk about how you were used, because, of course, for a while now, we live in this age of specialization. It's got to be lefty versus lefty and all that stuff. Did Whitey use you against every type of hitter, or did he try to go lefty versus lefty?
Well, I'll back it up. The way that the Cardinals picked me up was John Claiborne called me. I was on the DFA list from the Yankees, and I think I had one more day to go, the 10-day period before I was completely free. But I was, 41 years old, so there's not going to be a lot of clubs knocking on my door. But he said, can you be in St. Louis by 12:30 tomorrow? We've got a businessman special. We just picked up your contract. And I said, yeah, I can be there. So I get there. The game's already started. And who's walking out of the clubhouse but Darryl Knowles? And Knowlesy said, you're taking my place and you're older than I am. So that's when Kenny Boyer was still there. And I came in and made a few relief appearances. And then actually I started quite a few games in 1980. And my desire was to continue starting. But when Whitey took over, he said, I want you to be my lefty guy like Steve Mangori was in Kansas City. So I said, that's fine. I mean, it was so worthwhile because we won a world championship. But, in those days, you could, as a lefty, you could face one hitter and then come out of the game. They made this stupid rule now that you have to face three hitters, which is so ridiculous in upsetting the strategy of the game for a manager. But that's really the way Whitey used me, and it was so much fun being a part of that bullpen. We had Doug Bear and Jeff Lottie from the right side, and then I would come in and face a lefty or two, and then we had Bruce Sutter at the end, and it didn't matter who he faced, right or left, he was probably going to shut the door.
Well, as you know, Jim Cott, we're talking to the Hall of Famer right now, former Cardinal, former Twin, Philly, White Sox, you name it, played for the Yankees as well. And obviously the game is different and it has been changing. And, you were no stranger to throwing 260 innings. A couple times you threw 300. And we always have this debate about pitcher injuries and whether or not they'd be better served throwing more. And a lot of the old time players say the reason that they get hurt so much is because they're not throwing as much as they used to. How do you see it? Why do you think pitchers are getting injured more and we don't have 300 inning performers? And then furthermore, how did you feel when you were throwing your 299th inning in a given season?
I feel that question's got a lot of parts to it, but the end of it, I mean, I've said before, there are games, I remember throwing 186 pitches in a 13-inning game.
Oh.
The press box counted your pitches. We didn't count them in the dugout. And I had a 9-inning shutout where I threw 81 pitches. But in between there, if I had a game where I pitched like 4 innings and I got roughed up, my arm would feel worse than if I pitched 13 innings because when you're in that groove, you're in a rhythm. There's very little stress on your arm unless you're trying to throw it 5 miles an hour faster than you're capable of throwing. And that's where we have the injuries is we have somehow MLB hasn't been able to do it. They promote velocity. They show it on the screens. Ball gets to home plate. It's actually 5 miles an hour slower than what you see on TV. But they're just encouraging kids to try to throw faster and faster to get a college scholarship. And that's where the damage starts. It may not manifest itself till you get to the big leagues, but a lot of your draft picks now that are being signed are damaged goods already because they've injured their arms early on. The innings thing, I don't know who the genius was that decided that 100 pitches or 6 innings or whatever, but I think the reason they've had to restrict some pitchers going beyond 6 innings is because there's so much emphasis on velocity. And in our era, I think the first time through the batting order, we tried to get through that batting order with the lowest number of pitches we could. Don't show them everything you have. So we were much more economical, and we weren't superhuman. I mean, I just think we were like when I was with Jack McKeon the other night, he was talking about when he managed me in Class C ball 58, I pitched 225 innings in a 120-game season. Well, that's the way we were trained, and unfortunately, they're taking the stud pitchers like Paul Skeens and Scooble and Crochet, and they're dumbing them down into 6-inning pitchers. And I feel badly for them.
Jim, I wanted to ask you this, and I never had a chance to do it. I grew up in Baltimore, and we were at a game. I'm going to guess my father took me to a game. This had to be about 67 or so. And he said, this pitcher, the Twins? I said, yeah. He said, he's the Brooks Robinson of pitchers. And at first I was like, what does that mean? He said, best fielding pitcher I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And you won 16 Gold Gloves. And what's amazing about that, you won your first at age 23 and your last at age 38. But why were you so great defensively? I mean, how hard did you work on that? Or did a lot of it come naturally?
Well, this will sound weird, but I learned how to field my position listening to the radio. So as a kid growing up in Michigan, on a Sunday afternoon, I could listen to 8 games. You had the Cubs, the White Sox, the Tigers, and then the Braves had just moved to Milwaukee. My dad was a huge Philadelphia Athletics fan. So when the A's were playing the White Sox and the announcer would say, and pitching today is Bobby Shantz, best fielding pitcher in baseball, lands on the balls of his feet, always facing the hitter, like a fifth infielder, ready to go either way. So I'd go in my backyard when I was like 13, bounce that tennis ball off the backyard, make believe off the garage wall, make believe I was Bobby Shantz. My first spring training, the pitching coach after a pitching goes, hey, kid, you look just like Bobby Shantz. I said, well, thank you. Now, here's a cool story. 6 weeks ago, I called Bobby on his 100th birthday. And, he pitched some for the Cardinals, too. But I mimicked my motion after Bobby, and that's what I think helped me. I mean, it doesn't take any particular skill to field your position as a pitcher. It takes anticipation and being in the right position. Now, Bob Gibson was exceptional. He's such a great athlete. He fell off to first base, but he rebounded and got himself in position in case the ball was hit back at him. So that's really what it is, an anticipation and being in the right position.
Well, Bernie mentioned all of your Gold Gloves, Jim Cott, and some of those will be auctioned off at a live auction with the Louisville Slugger Museum and Factory. And a live auction is happening Saturday, and it gets started at 9:30 a.m. our time. And you can find out about it at huntauctions.com. But you've got a lot of memorabilia that you are putting into it, including those Gold Gloves, the Cardinals World Series trophy from 1982. You've got a lot of stuff you've decided to put in this auction.
Yeah, I think as I looked at my memorabilia, which I've been looking at it for 40 years, obviously I have my Cardinal. That's enough to remind me of the World Series. I have my Hall of Fame ring. I have some other personal items that certainly I will hold on with, maybe for my grandsons. But the rest of it was just stuff. And, years ago, I'm talking I put up one of my Gold Gloves every year for the Bob Allison Ataxia Center dinner from my late teammate Bob Allison, who in fact passed away from ataxia back in the 90s. So I had a guy call in the other day, and he said, yeah, I got one of your gloves back at that dinner in 1991. So several of them went there, and I still have maybe half a dozen, 7 or 8 left, the Hall of Fame one. But they're just stuff, and I've had collectors ask for years, when could I get one of your Gold Gloves? So I just decided to contact Hunt Auctions, which I researched quite diligently, because there are some auction houses out there that have auctioned off some phony stuff. And I was quite impressed with them. I think they did Bobby Orr's. They recently did Willie Mays. So that's what we're going to do. And, there's always a lot of good things you could do with the proceeds. For years, I've been contributing to the Little League program in my hometown. They have a complex there, 3 fields named after me. And for, I think, 20-some years, I've provided the balls and bats and equipment for Little League kids, as well as the girls softball, which is now becoming very popular.
Yeah, and a lot of really cool stuff in this auction. The website is huntauctions.com. As I mentioned, the World Series trophy from 1982, Jim's World Series trophy, some of the Gold Glove awards, a used baseball glove, and then there's some other stuff on top of it too. You've got a Mickey Mantle jersey, which is there.
I don't think mine is a Mickey Mantle. I have my original Twins jersey.
Yes.
And then I have the glove that I used for 15 years, which is all taped up with. If I threw it on the street, a kid would pick it up, put it in the trash can. And I have the baseball that knocked my teeth out in 1962.
Oh, wow.
It's still got the imprints in it. I used to have the teeth fragments. I should have put it in a lucite case, but
that's
a few odds and ends like that. You'd be amazed at some of the stuff that these collectors like to collect. So they're going to get that chance.
There's a lot of stuff. It is this Saturday, 9:30 in the morning. It gets started. I would encourage you to go to huntauctions.com now and just get the lay of the land. Huntauctions.com. Some of Jim Cott's personal stuff will be there. Jim, the Hall of Famer, we love talking to you. Thank you for visiting with Bernie and me today.
Well, thank you, and thanks for calling attention to the auction. I appreciate that, and it's always good talking baseball with St. Louis people. Thank you.
Huntauctions.com. That is the Hall of Famer Jim Cott. And in addition to all the stuff that Jim is providing, there's a lot of stuff. There's a Babe Ruth bat. There is a Mickey Mantle jersey from the 1953 season. So we encourage you, if you're a collector, that's going to be a great thing to do this Saturday. Get started 9:30 in the morning. So, Bernie, why don't you tell folks as we hit the break about our friends at Saliga?
No doubt about it. Thank you. Saliga Heating and Cooling, it's been owned by the same family continuously since 1927. And in fact, they're still in the same building where it all started, down on Gravois, South City, back in 1927. So I put it to you this way, heating and cooling in St. Louis is a competitive field. I mean, there's a lot of places you can call. Saliga has been around for 100 years, basically, just under 100 years. What does that say about their credibility? What does that say about the quality and the professionalism of their work? What does it say about their integrity? What does it say about their customer loyalty? I mean, I think it tells you a lot, because you're sitting there 100 years later, just about the same family, still running it and still going strong. And even more newer generations of St. Louis families are relying on Saliga Heating and Cooling for their heating and cooling needs, plus some other things they can do inside your house, like the indoor air quality, or they can install duct systems, or they can clean your ducts, or whatever it is. They even do ductless systems. So there's all kinds of things they can do. And they also have a priority club, which is a maintenance plan that's going to save you money by extending the life of your current equipment. And the Mickleses have been calling Saliga for 17 years, and we're in the priority club. And it indeed has saved us money and gives you the peace of mind knowing that your equipment is ready for all 4 seasons as well. So if you want to find out the long list of services they can provide at Saliga Heating and Cooling and the phone number, you just go to SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Thank you.
Help KMOX make the holiday season brighter for St. Louis area children by supporting TSO Tuesdays, benefiting Sightman kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. On Tuesdays, Sugar Fire will donate a portion of their TSO Tuesday special to Sightman kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. And don't miss Trans-Siberian Orchestra, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve at Enterprise Center, December 23rd at 3 p.m. Get your tickets today for this holiday tradition. All you need to know at KMOX.com. If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want to boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
Purina presents A Century of Service.
This is KMOX Radio.
KMOX is celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining St. Louis. On November 20th, KMOX Day, we will celebrate the KMOX pioneers.
This is Jim White for your information.
Legendary voices.
KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Groundbreaking programming.
KMOX Radio. We're at your service.
And unforgettable moments that have defined a century of broadcasting.
We did locate Ben this afternoon, and we've also located Sean Harnbeck.
Hear from current and former KMOX personalities who have helped make this station the preeminent news, information, and sports brand in America. A century of service, celebrating 100 years of KMOX, is presented by Purina, your pet, our passion, on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Now, back to the Gashouse Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Bernie Miklasz and Chris Ranji, and when Bernie is on the show, it is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin dealer. We are getting ready to wrap up here. Just about a minute to go before we say goodbye. So, Bernie, as we are heading into the weekend, I know you'll be on Rush Hour Sports tomorrow at 5 o'clock. But prior to that, I know you'll talk about the Blues because they got a couple of games this weekend, both at home, both Friday and Saturday nights, and that's a team that just they got to start stacking wins, man, because this is been a really rough start for them.
They've played better this week, and maybe that's the start of something. Maybe the coaches got their attention. Maybe the boys are embarrassed and a little fired up to try to make amends. We'll see. I don't trust them yet, but there have been some encouraging signs. And the best thing that's happened in recent days is that the fourth line that Jim Montgomery wanted to have this season is finally together because there were some injuries that prevented that. So now they have that strong fourth line who can play just the way a fourth line needs to play, led by Nathan Walker and Toropchenko and Sundqvist. And so I think that's a good thing. They have a foundation there for hard work.
Yep. Flyers tomorrow, and then you've got the Vegas Golden Knights on Saturday. Both of those games at home. Hopefully when we come back on Monday, we're talking about two Blues wins. Bernie Miklasz, awesome, man. We'll do it again next week on Tuesday. You will be with Rennie, not tomorrow at 5 o'clock for Rush Hour. Rush Hour Sports here on KMOX. We appreciate that. It has been Bernie Miklasz and Chris Ranji. The Dave Glover Show is next. Gashouse Gang back tomorrow at noon on KMOX.